Russia's Pantsir is one of the most famous air defense systems in the world. It combines powerful radar, 12 surface-to-air missiles, and twin 30mm cannons, all on a single vehicle. On paper, it looks like the obvious winner. So when India searched for a new short-range air defense system, many expected the Russian Pantsir to dominate the competition. But that's not what happened. Instead, India selected South Korea's K30 Biho, a much smaller system, a much shorter range system, and one that many people outside military circles had never even heard of. So, did India reject the better air defense system? Or were these two vehicles designed to solve completely different problems? Let's find out. At first glance, this comparison looks incredibly one-sided. Pantsir carries up to 12 missiles. Its engagement range is around 30 kilometers. Its radar can detect threats from much farther away. The K30 Biho carries only 4 missiles. Its missile range is about 7 kilometers. Its radar is smaller. Its firepower appears more limited. If we compare specifications alone, Pantsir wins. But military procurement is rarely about buying the system with the biggest numbers. It's about buying the system that best matches the mission, and that's where the story changes. India wasn't looking for another S-400. It wasn't searching for a system to defend cities, air bases, or strategic infrastructure. The Indian Army wanted a battlefield short-range air defense, a vehicle that could move with tank formations, protect mechanized infantry, operate close to the front line. That sounds like a simple requirement, but it creates a completely different design philosophy. Pantsir was designed primarily to protect high-value assets, air defense batteries, command centers, airfields, strategic infrastructure. Its long-range radar, large missile load, and powerful sensors are all optimized for that role. The K30 Biho was designed differently. Its priority wasn't maximum range. Its priority was mobility. It uses a tracked chassis, meaning it can move wherever tanks go, across mud, sand, broken terrain, and difficult off-road environments. For an army fighting on the move, that's a major advantage. But here's something that almost nobody talks about: weight. The K30 Biho weighs roughly 25 tons. Depending on the version, Pantsir weighs between 35 and over 40 tons. That's a difference of 10 to 16 tons. And in military vehicles, that's enormous. Many people assume tracks automatically solve mobility. But tracks are only part of the equation. Weight affects everything: fuel consumption, logistics, bridge crossings, recovery operations, strategic transport, even how easily a vehicle can keep pace with armored formations over long distances. In simple terms, Biho spent its weight budget on mobility. Pantsir spent its weight budget on radar range, electronics, and missile reach. Neither design is wrong. They simply reflect different priorities. So why did India choose the Biho? Because the army wasn't looking for an escort for the S-400. It wanted a battlefield companion, a lighter vehicle, one that could stay with armored brigades, operate across difficult terrain, and provide close-range air defense exactly where ground forces needed it. For that mission, the Biho appears to have been the better fit. Does that mean Pantsir is a bad system? Absolutely not. In fact, Pantsir may be the better choice for an entirely different mission. Think about India's S-400 batteries. These systems can engage aircraft hundreds of kilometers away. But that also makes them some of the most valuable targets on the battlefield. An enemy would love to destroy them. That's why many countries build layered air defense networks. The outer layer engages threats at long range. The inner layer protects the outer layer itself. In that role, Pantsir makes perfect sense. Its longer-range radar, greater missile capacity, and rapid reaction capability are exactly what you want protecting strategic assets. So rather than replacing each other, Biho and Pantsir could actually complement each other. One protects the front line. The other protects the nation's most valuable air defense systems. Interestingly, Russia itself provides a clue. Historically, systems like Tunguska were closely associated with supporting maneuver formations, while Pantsir became more closely associated with defending strategic assets and integrated air defense networks. That doesn't mean Pantsir cannot operate near the front line. It certainly can, but it shows that even Russia sees different systems as tools for different missions. But then, warfare changed. The conflict in Ukraine changed how the world thinks about air defense, cheap FPV drones, commercial quadcopters, loitering munitions, mass drone attacks. Suddenly, the biggest threat wasn't always a fighter jet. Sometimes, it was a drone costing only a few $100s. At the same time, recent conflicts in the Middle East have shown another lesson. Modern battlefields are becoming saturated with missiles, rockets, and drones arriving together. Traditional systems were designed primarily to defeat aircraft and helicopters. Today's battlefield demands something more. The next generation of systems will probably look very different. Instead of relying only on missiles, future systems are likely to combine multiple layers. A 30-millimeter cannon using programmable airburst ammunition to destroy drones cheaply. A short-range missile for high-speed drone or guided rockets. An electro-optical tracking system that can fight even without using radar. Electronic jammers to disrupt drone communications and satellite navigation. And perhaps in the future, laser weapons for virtually unlimited low-cost engagements. The goal is no longer to destroy every threat with the biggest missile. The goal is to destroy every threat using the cheapest, fastest, and most effective tool available. So, who wins? Pantsir or K30 Biho? The answer is both, because they were never designed to do exactly the same job. Pantsir is a strategic shield. Biho is a battlefield bodyguard. Both are excellent at the missions they were built to perform. But the battlefield is changing. The future belongs to air defense systems that can defeat saturation attack, without bankrupting the military every time they fire. And perhaps, the country that solves that challenge first will define the future of air defense.